using the chat function. As Heather said, I'm Dave Brown. I have 20 years of IT recruitment experience, and I'm the head of our IT business for Hays US. We have more than 150 associates in our IT business based in 11 offices, and we recruit nationwide, which gives us a broad perspective on what's happening in the industry and some of the trends. Hays US also recruits in construction and property, life sciences, and accounting and finance, which gives us a bigger picture view of national hiring patterns. Some of you may have seen our IT salary guide last year and our market trend guides from before that. This year marks our first all-market guide looking at national trends in 5 key sectors. We had more than 3,000 respondents to this year's survey, which helped us put together this guide, including salary data, hiring plans, and our recommendations based on what we're seeing in the market and the survey results. So let's start with some of the key findings. And I'll go ahead and start at the top with business activity and economic outlook, and then we'll look at how that's affecting hiring plans and compensation. The charts here show business activity trends in 2017 and expectations for 2018. You can see that IT employers had a busy year, and it doesn't look like it will slow down in the year to come. 2/3 of IT employers say business activity levels increased in 2017, and 3/4 say it will increase again next year. In addition, half of IT employers say the economy will strengthen in 2018. So all very positive signs. So then what does all this activity mean for hiring? Well, starting with last year, almost half of IT employers increased headcount in 2017, which aligns with the business activity growth. This is also an increase from last year when 39% of people increased headcount. A similar number increased contract headcount, again in line with that reported activity growth. And about 80% of IT employers told us that they use contingent workers, so this number is a subset of that. Employers who use contract staff were likely to increase or maintain levels in 2017, and this is roughly in line with the overall average. Looking ahead, slightly more employers are hoping to increase full-time headcount compared to contract roles, but you can see that most intend to increase or maintain contingent staffing levels. So I wouldn't expect to see a big switch towards full-time at this point, especially in candidate-driven markets. The contingent workforce is looking like a similar story to last year, with 4 out of 10 increasing staffing levels and the same proportion keeping them steady. So when asked what their organization's top priority was for the next 6 months, the move to the cloud remains top of mind, followed closely by security. Last year, employers rated security as more important than cloud, but overall, the top 3 of cloud, security, and business intelligence has remained consistent for the past 3 years. So let's have a quick look at these areas that will likely see the most hiring in 2018. In full-time hiring, we're seeing leadership as a huge area of opportunity, along with infrastructure, development, and help desk. While in contract, testing is the biggest area of demand, followed by security, ERP, projects and change management, and telecom. So what does all of this demand mean for compensation? Well, we asked about salary increases, and you can see the results on the screen here. Overall, a healthy range of pay raises on par with the overall average, with many employers offering cost of living increases up to 3%. However, when we looked at some of the other industries with the kind of talent crunch IT has, such as construction and life sciences, we're seeing much higher salary increases. We thought this could be because IT employers who are focused on contingent hiring aren't increasing salaries, so we focused on the employers who increased their full-time headcount last year, and half increased salaries by 3% or more. That's a quarter more than the average and a third more than IT employers who increase contingent workforce levels. So basically, this chart doesn't tell the whole story, which is that for both contingent and full-time roles, there is a lot of wage pressure in these areas and a shortage of skills for IT professionals. So let's look at where the pressure is most being felt. So when we look at the overall wage pressure, these are the top 5 areas as reported by employers. And you can see that it is very high for these areas. And if I look at the roles employers said were hardest to fill, it's basically an exact match. and this is true for both contract and full-time roles. Leadership is one of the highest priorities for full-time hiring, while security is one of the areas with the highest expectations for contract positions. And of course, developers are at the top of the list for both full-time and contract roles. So that's an overview of the business, hiring, and compensation trends that we're seeing. So let's go a level down and talk about some of the specific hiring challenges employers are reporting and some of the actions you can take to overcome them. We asked IT employers about the skills shortage, hiring challenges, and how they're recruiting, so let's take a look at those results next. As mentioned earlier, more than half of IT employers intend to increase headcount in 2018, and many will also increase contingent workforce levels. But the survey shows what I think we're well aware of, which is that it won't be easy to fill some of those positions. 2/3 of IT employers say there is a skills shortage, and 1/3 describe the shortage as significant or extreme. The shortage is having a big impact on business as well, with 9 out of 10 employers saying it's negatively affecting their business. Productivity, employee engagement, and staff turnover are rated as the most affected areas. So we decided to take a look at what's causing the shortage. The top 2 answers, which collectively are more than half the responses, are a lack of available training and new technology. These go hand in hand as technology continues to evolve and develop, and training programs can't keep up. So there are a couple of ways to address this, but any large-scale answer is going to require cooperation between the government, educators, and employers. In terms of what you can do today, I would encourage employers to consider hiring for potential instead of looking for an exact match, and being open-minded to training for the skills that you need. This will help you avoid some of the worst of the talent war while also building a pipeline of experienced employees who are more loyal because you've demonstrated that you will invest in their careers and professional development. So next, let's look at how employers are trying to attract top talent in this market. So this list shows how IT employers say they're attracting top talent, and it's pretty telling. The #1 answer by quite a margin is company culture. That's a good thing. You want to attract people with your culture to show what it's like to work for you. In fact, I'm surprised that only half of employers say they're doing this. But then we see this big drop-off, and in a bit of a cluster, we see benefits, salary, and flexible work. Again, these are all important aspects to showcase. The meeting market rate for salaries and offering sought-after benefits are critical attraction tools. However, there are some key elements that a lot of employers are missing. Only 1/3 are promoting career progression or training and development, which we know is a critical attraction tool. And as we discussed, growing your own talent is an important part of building a talent pipeline. And then 1 in 7 employers are doing nothing to attract talent. So this is what you're doing to attract people, but what channels are you using and what's working for your competitors? So we asked employers both how they recruited and which channels were most effective. And when it came to what people were doing, job boards, your company's career page, and employee referrals are the most common. But what did people say were actually most effective? Well, at the top, there's a specialist recruiter, which I'm obviously very happy to see. But by building strong industry relationships and targeting desks to specific skills and sectors, we can smooth the recruitment process for our clients. That being said, only 45% of people said they use recruiters, so that's something to think about over the coming year. Recruitment outsourcing is the next most effective. Outsourced recruitment is a huge trend globally, and we're seeing very fast growth in that sector in the U.S. The bad news for employers is that the top 2 for results are not the most commonly used. 2/3 of you are using employee referrals, and these are very effective. However, your employee network is going to be limited. You need to find ways to expand that network to keep reaching new people. So how effective are the 2 most common approaches? Well, only 1/4 of respondents say generic job boards or website career sections are effective for hiring. So, okay, so that's what we're doing to find candidates, but there could be spots in your process where you're losing people. So let's look at what candidates think their biggest job challenges are. We asked job seekers what challenges they're facing, and these are the top 3 responses. The lengthy hiring process. It's an issue that we see every day on the front line of recruitment. Good candidates don't stay on the market for long, so if your process is taking months instead of weeks, you will absolutely miss out on top talent. And that correlates with number 3, the lack of communication. Making sure you're communicating at every stage and setting realistic expectations for candidates is vitally important. The lack of relevant roles, I think this comes back to the mismatch between candidate skills and employer needs. There are some great people looking for jobs who don't have the exact experience being sought. And again, where possible, especially when hiring full-time, I'd encourage you to hire for potential and train up, because that will help you close some of those knowledge gaps that exist. Finally, unconscious bias could be affecting up to a third of your applicants. A couple diverse hiring best practices could help you tap into an overlooked talent pool. Look at your hiring process and see if there are opportunities to introduce things like blind resume screening and competency-based interviewing that can reduce some of these effects. So that's all the big picture and charts that I have for today. So to recap, overall, the sector is busy, hiring and activity are increasing, which is making the skills shortage worse, and this is affecting wage pressure and productivity. I've been dropping in some suggestions along the way, but now I have a few specific areas of improvement that could help your hiring in 2018. So here are 3 areas where we spotted opportunities to better align employers with job seekers. For each, we'll look at some of the mismatches we're seeing and then what you can do to bridge those gaps. Employers are definitely underestimating the importance of career progression for both attraction and retention. We asked both professionals and employers about the motivation for leaving a job. On the candidate side, about a third say career progression was their main motivator. On the employer side, they say the main reason is salary. In fact, salary is only the 3rd biggest motivator for candidates, behind career growth and company culture. So what can you do about this? When you're trying to attract the best and brightest, emphasize the career opportunities available. It's the main reason that ambitious people leave their jobs. And I think a lot of employers are put off by the idea of career growth because they think it's about a focus on promotions and salary increases. But think beyond these tired cliches, because that's not what most people are looking for when they talk about progression. Most people are looking for genuine opportunities to learn new things and increase their responsibility. To that end, introduce programs such as mentorship, job shadowing, and lunch and learns to make the most of the existing resources in your organization. This has 2 benefits. 1, you're offering the professional development that people are looking for, and 2, you're keeping that knowledge in your organization, making sure it's passed on to your future company leaders. And if you think that doesn't apply for attracting and retaining contractors, think again. We know from our research that career progression still matters to contractors. It just looks a little different. They're looking to use the latest technology, learn new things, and expand their resume. So when you're talking to contractors, emphasize how the role will open up new opportunities for them. Finally, target the candidates you're looking for. Career growth is most important to junior and intermediate candidates, many of whom are Gen Y, so when advertising those types of roles, it's especially important to emphasize career growth opportunities. So IT employers are really emphasizing benefits to attract candidates, but are they getting it right? Let's look at what benefits employers think are most important. Not a lot of surprises here. Health, 401k, flexible hours, and the ability to work from home. And here's what candidates and employees value. So the good news is there is a lot of alignment, but one thing that does stand out to me and aligns with the last slide, which is that employers are underestimating the importance of training and professional development. So you could be ticking a lot of the boxes here, but if you're looking for a key differentiator, offer and promote training opportunities. And finally, could a one-off payment be the way to win your top candidate? A signing bonus is the benefit IT professionals want most, but only 1 in 10 people say they got one when they started their last job. So what can you do to better align with market expectations? My first stop would always be to talk to your employees. What do they want? A simple survey sent out company-wide can help you get the insights you need so you can prioritize the areas where there is the most dissatisfaction or the biggest push for change. If you're not already doing exit interviews for your contractors, start adding that to your offboarding process so you can find specific areas of improvement. Again, I suggest using all your resources to determine market expectations and candidate priorities. This salary guide is a good starting point, and our recruitment consultants talk to thousands of candidates, both full-time and contractors a year, in your industry or function, so they really have a good frontline knowledge of what skills most professionals are looking for. Finally, when you're making changes, prioritize those most wanted benefits first. Making a big deal about introducing free snacks won't help if all your employees really want is time off. So find out what your employees want, find out what the market wants, and then incorporate those into your plans. And where possible, work with a staffing provider that offers benefits, because these will help you have better retention rates with your people. There is a lot of competition for talent right now, and doing the same thing that you were doing 10 years ago to attract candidates isn't working. So here's a perfect example. 66% of employers are using job boards. It's the second most common recruitment method. However, less than a quarter of those employers say it's effective. So why are we still using job boards if we know that they don't work? And why don't they work? Well, only 10% of people are actively job seeking at any given time. So of all the people that might be interested in your job, how many are on a job board and reading your ad? The answer is roughly 1 in 10. But if you could talk to the right person, 8 out of 10 would consider leaving for the right offer. So the problem you have is that you're not able to reach the right people. So instead of waiting for people to come to you, you need to proactively find and engage potential candidates to build a pipeline of talent. One reason that specialist recruiters are effective is that that's what they do all day, every day, is connect with people in their industry. Every candidate that's not right for today's job could be put forward for tomorrow's. So on top of using a recruiter, how can you build your own talent pool? Well, looking at how you can reach those people with the right experience and interests, social media is the best tool we have right now for targeting specific audiences. There are going to be 3 points here, but they all work together, so you can't do one without the other on how to build a good social media network. First of all, the most obvious, we have to actually build your network. The more followers or connections you have, the greater your reach will be. Number 2, you need to be sharing the right content consistently to keep your audience's interest. So if you want to attract project managers, you can't just share jobs. You should also be sharing local news, opinions on what's happening in the industry, and project updates. If you're looking for contractors, promote the new tech you're working with and success stories from current or previous contractors. You want to be seen as the source of good information. And 3, while you're bringing them in with this great information, you can also demonstrate that you're a great place to work. Share company wins, promotions, new starters, so when you have a job opening, people are already interested in your company and have an impression of what it's like to work there. So those are all of our key findings and recommendations for today. I will briefly do a recap and then show how you can take action today to start some of these improvements. So our overall summary is that business activity is booming, which is leading to a lot of hiring, no surprise there. The skills shortage is severe, exacerbated by new technology and a lack of training. We know that. Wage pressure is high for in-demand skills such as security, leadership, development, and cloud infrastructure. And a focus on culture for attraction means employers are missing key attraction and retention strategies. So some actions you can take today. Compare your team, organization salaries, and benefits to the market rate. You can then start by talking to your recruitment consultant or reading the salary guide. Talk to your team about their career path within the organization to secure a longer tenure and more loyal employees. And grow your network. Increase your social media presence. Connect with an association and start developing an online content plan. So at a high level, that's all that we have for today. This is just a very small snippet of our findings. To get even more information and insights, please go ahead and request the guide either from your recruitment consultant or by visiting hayes.com/resources/2018-salary-guide. That's all for our messages for today, and I will open it up to any questions that we may have. The first question I got was, we can't get the contractors we need because we don't have the budget that some big companies have. How can we get the skills in? The best thing that I can tell you there is what we talked about a little bit earlier, which is that you may be in a position where you need to hire for potential as opposed to realized technology skill set today. So the market will probably be more flexible if you relax your requirements on what you're looking for. You could find someone with a lower rate who will be more apt to learn on the job versus paying for a hired gun skill set. And as we mentioned before, you'll also gain a contractor and potentially at some point an employee who's a lot more loyal and engaged with you because you invested in them. Great question. I don't see any other questions for today. So if that's it, I'll go ahead and wrap up and just say I appreciate everyone's time and attention today. Again, request your copy of the guide, and please talk to your recruitment consultant if you have any questions. So I appreciate it, and everyone have a great afternoon. Thank you.